I've been told I can't talk about the African American experience in the classroom, in front of my college students, in my poems, because I sound less like Malcolm X and more like Nelson Mandela. Like this one time, after performing the blackest poem I have ever written, this white girl walks up to me and says, "Wait, do you see yourself as an African or an African American? Because I feel like you're more of an pause. First of all, you don't get to feel. You don't get to feel any type of way about my blackness, as if this black can be transferred like it was never conquered. I've been told I can't talk about the African American experience because I sound more like T'Challa and less like Killmonger. Like, after performing another black poem, this black boy walks up to me and says, "Your type of black is not fit enough to talk about our trauma. You know nothing about chains, whips, or bullets." So, while basking in my rage and in need of some motherfucking incest, I decided that I would take the slave ship all the way back to 1332. Safa sapelo si. While sailing in the middle of the Atlantic, ancestral ghosts called my name from deep down the ocean. I felt their spirits pull me into the circle to cast a protection spell just so I could make it safe to the West African coast. When I arrived, I saw Mansa Musa, king of the Mali Empire. I asked him, "Am I black enough?" And he said, "Utuntum sin adienina." He said my blackness was thicker than blood. So he shipped me to 1892, where I saw Ya Santua, Queen Mother of Ejisu in the Ashanti Empire, who led the War of the Golden Stool against British colonialism. I asked her, "Am I black enough?" And she said, "Bemena." She said my blackness was born in the midst of war by warriors that looked like you and me. So don't tell me I'm not black enough to talk about black issues in America. When the drunk white girl called me a nigger in college, she did not go to Ancestry.com to fact check if my grandmother's grandmother was a slave. When West African immigrant Amadou Diallo was shot and killed 41 times by New York police, they were shooting at his blackness, not his accent. This skin is prey for the dogs regardless of which side of the park we got our training. And so in our blackness, I bind us. It is our ancestors' dying wish.
African-Centered Biological Nationalism by Kwesi Anan Ababio. It reads, the first page, who is an African? An African person is a person with the skin color range of brown to black with African texture hair. I'm not going to go too much into detail about this book because I already made a video about the first page of this book. So I'm going to drop the link and you can go check it out. I dropped the link in the description box down below. Now that I have dropped the link for this book, we can continue on about what it means to be African. Hello, my African brothers and sisters. It's Elle Dumare here with another video. I'm here to talk about what it means to be African, what it truly means to be African. And we have to have a reset on our brain about who we are. We've been listening to everyone else tell us about who we are and our history. What it means to be African. Well, I am African regardless of how anyone may feel. Regardless of what somebody says, "Oh, you were born here, so you're this, you're that." Well, if I rely on somebody else to tell me who I am, I will always and forever be confused. I have to represent who I am and my identity without any apology, because that's who I am. I'm African by DNA, by race, okay? Both of my parents are African, black. I can change my accent. I can change my nationality, but I cannot change my identity. I cannot change my race, who I am, and that's an African, okay?
Don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you are an African. Now mind your nationality.
We should not confuse nationality with our race, okay? Someone can be born in the continent of Africa and not be African. Look at the mixed race Oromos and the Habeshas, or even look at Joshua Anthony, for example. His father is mixed race.
Nikutunze mama usikose lolote bete nayo nikuvishe nikuoe mama usiende.
When other Africans ask me what's my nationality or where I'm based, I tell that brother or sister, I'm African, and that's all that matters. We from the same continent, and that's all that matters. Now, once that African brother or sister realizes and we see eye to eye, then we can open up and break the ice about anything else. But not every African realizes that they're African first. Once we get that eye to eye, that alignment, that mental alignment, then we can go into deeper conversation. I've been told by many lost souls, lost brothers and sisters, that I'm not African because I wasn't born in the continent. Well, being African is in my DNA. It's not about where you are born. It's about your DNA and your mentality. What it means to be African is eating to live, not living to eat. You eat life. You eat food that love you back, okay? Being African is eating like an African, thinking like an African, being African spiritually aligned with the universe, being spiritually aligned with not only the universe, but with your African ancestors and nature. Knowing that you are one with the universe, knowing that you are one with nature and our ancestors. That's what being African is truly about. As Africans, our body is not a cemetery, so we shouldn't be treating our temple, our body like a cemetery, okay? We have to put life in our body. If you're not eating right, you're not thinking right. That's a whole nother video on its own also. Africa is my home, my birthright, okay? You can take a kangaroo, and even if it has babies and it lives there for over 100 years, 200, 300 years, and it's there for like 4 or 5 generations, that kangaroo is still Australian. It's still from that place, okay? It's still from that area. No matter how long it's in America or China.
Don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you are an African. Now mind your nationality.
I know who I am, okay? I can never, now that I know better, I can never, insult myself and say that I'm African American. When you know better, you do better. How can you insult yourself so much? Like, you just can't, okay? So, I want my African brothers and sisters to understand that no matter where you are on this planet, you are African. And your brothers and sisters, no matter if you like it or not, are African too. We're African. We're African first, before any nationality, before any tribe, before any ethnic group. We are African first. And we should be standing for a one Africa, a United States of Africa.
So it is for you to come together and give us a United States of Africa. Yes, sir.
That's the only thing that's going to solve our issues in Africa. Once we realize we are one. We are one. But you have so many Africans, they are so proud to be a slave to these colonial nationalities, okay? Saying, I'm a proud South Sudanese, I'm a proud Nigerian, I'm a proud Eritrean. What are you proud of? Are you proud of tribal wars? Are you proud of corruption? Are you proud of religious wars? Your people killing each other over foreign gods? That's what you're proud of by saying you're a proud Ghanaian? Or proud Gambian? That's what you're proud of? That's nothing to be proud of. So it's best to claim who you are first. And only. That's the only thing we should be claiming, ourselves as African. And once we establish that, then we can go into, once we get that understanding and that alignment, spiritual alignment and mental alignment, then we can go into saying, oh, my maternal lineage, my paternal lineage is this tribe or that tribe. But we first have to understand that we are Africans, okay? We have to first understand that we are one, okay? We are more similar, and we are more similar than we are different. We are more similar than we are different. We might have different labels or terms that we call the universe, that we call the supreme energy that created everything, but it's all the same. Okay, the Igbo might say Chineke. Okay, the Yorubas say Olodumare, Eledumare, but it's all the same. It's all the same. It's all the same. The only difference is what you're saying. But that energy, that spirit, is all universal to us Africans. It's all the same.
I am African.